watches or iPhones or whatever. Trash is here, so we have a full slate. So without further ado, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody, to the first meeting of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. First meeting of the, I'll call it the season. It's technically not the first meeting of the year because we were meeting at the end of last year and earlier this year. Welcome, everybody aboard. We have pretty much the same batting order except for Chris joining us as a school representative. I think everybody else has been here before. So I'll try to move along apace. First thing I wanted to talk about was in terms of maintenance, housekeeping, chores. Is this time frame good for everybody, generally speaking? I know we've flip-flopped it a lot in the past. If we could go with Wednesdays at 3 p.m., and if it works for most of you, then fine, we'll stay with that. And we generally meet, what, pretty much every 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think so for the first
Yeah.
month or so.
That may change to, every week later on, if depending on how it goes. But I think last year we did it every other week, and that worked out fine. So, welcome aboard, everybody. And the first item is committee reorganization. I'd be interested in a couple of positions. I don't think we need a vice chair, but we do need a chair. I've been the chair for a while. I'm not tired of it, but I don't want to get in the way of other people trying to improve their resumes. So if there's a nomination.
Motion to approve Mr. Brewer for chair.
Second.
Is that it?
Any discussion?
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your vote of confidence. We don't have a secretary. We had Muriel here for a long time, and that changed. I don't know if Muriel's up to the task or if anybody else. Would
I
you?
still can't write.
Yeah.
It's chicken feed.
Okay. All right, well, unless somebody else wants to come forth.
Read my own writing.
Yeah, Jim and I were doing this, and I think we rotated it
Yeah, we took
last
turns.
year. So if I don't hear anybody saying, yay, I want to be the secretary, we'll just go on that same basis, which seemed to work anyway. We don't have that many meetings, and I don't even think everybody got a chance to be the secretary for a day. So, Jim, I'll ask if you could do the minutes for this meeting, and I'll do next week, and then we can decide after that. And it's not too oppressive. We move through that pretty quick. All right, so the process here is one where we entertain the requests from the departments per the earlier memo from Jim to all the department heads. And we don't make any decisions yet, put it all in the hopper, and then try to set priorities, also keeping in mind funding sources. Obviously, ones that have funding sources, it's more helpful to have that and to approve those as opposed to the ones without. But anyway, we try to do what we can with the limited resources we have. There are always more requests than there is money. But we do the best we can, and we do the same thing every year, and it seems to work to the extent that we can. Jim, maybe later at another meeting, you'll have that spreadsheet with, the next 5 years, whatever we have, according to the capital plan. I would call attention to the capital plan to keep that in your minds and reading it and referring to it, because it does have some, I think, some insightful things in there. And that's sort of like our not bylaws, but it's sort of our guideposts, I guess you'd call that. So anyway, unless there's further discussion or questions, we do try to do these meetings generally in an hour or so. Sometimes it goes a little longer, but I don't think we've ever had one that's been more than, say, 90 minutes. And I'm told today there's a ball game at 90 minutes from now, so I'll have to keep that in mind. Well, welcome, everybody. So we'll get right into it unless there are questions. I think everything's clear. We've all been at this before a few times, and Mr. Tharshi, I'm sure you'll get the hang of this real quickly. So these are in no particular order other than what the town administrator put them in for whatever reason. And the first one on the list, this is, needs to be under item number 2, 2A, B, C, and D. 2A is the Board of Health. So I'd ask, I believe, Madam Mendo, the Executive Director of the Board of Health, is here to present his capital needs.
All right.
Matt, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm here today to seek a request for funding for the replacement of an aging animal control vehicle that is no longer meeting the operational safety and welfare needs of the department. A new reliable vehicle is essential to maintain timely responses, ensure humane transport of animals, and protect both the officers and the public. So I had given everybody a packet at their chairs. I mean, I can go through this whole document, I can read it if you'd like, or it just kind of goes through a justification for what we're asking for, plus I have some notes here from the animal control officer.
Okay, it's up to you as you make your presentation. A brief presentation is always in vogue around here, but
All right, I'll
We won't
try
cut
to
you
I'll
off.
summarize as best I can. So just the justification is, you know, the operational reliability. The current vehicle is nearly 12 years old and has experienced breakdowns and costly repairs over the last few years. You know, that's been causing delays in response to call-outs, increased vehicle downtime. You know, a newer vehicle would ensure consistent, dependable service and reduce maintenance-related disruptions. Animal welfare, the vehicle is used daily to transport sick, injured, stray, or aggressive animals. Humane transport requires climate-controlled compartments, which we don't currently have, secure containment systems, which we have a containment system, but it's not secure. The latch has been faulty, and we've brought it to the dealer several times, and they can't get the part, et cetera. And cleanable and durable interiors. And we have some peeling paint issues going on in there, where the animals can you know, may cause sick if they, you know, get a hold of that and ingest it. And, you know, just cost efficiency. I know the vehicle requires a significant upfront investment, but continued use of the vehicle that we have now, we continue to pay for repairs. It seems like, you know, there's something going wrong all the time with it. It's not very fuel efficient. And if it goes down for an extended period of time, we're gonna have to lease or rent a vehicle to continue to be able to operate. And I don't, you know, that's not gonna be cheap. So I think a new vehicle would significantly reduce maintenance costs over the next 5 to 10 years and provide a greater fuel efficiency amongst other things. So basically, that's that, and just some notes from the animal control officer. You know, the vehicle has limited functionality with only one medium-sized cage. It's unsafe, it's in an unsafe open area where there's a large opening in the back and aggressive animals are transported without proper containment. The lack of, you know, security for the doors has led to, you know, pretty dangerous situations. We've had a couple of animals escape on us last year. And as therefore mentioned, there's peeling paint. Mechanically, it's either the air conditioner is breaking down, which has been costly to, you know, keep up with. Replacing it, this doesn't seem like a viable option for the air conditioning. The engine makes a knocking sound now, which it didn't make previously. It, you know, it comes and goes. So,
did you mention how many miles it had on it?
yeah, it's on another
Is it in there?
document. It's on my original request that I emailed over, I believe.
There's some hard copies of all the requests if anybody needs a hard copy. Sorry.
You can't.
I didn't see that. Well, the vehicle is 12 years old, so you've racked up some miles.
Yeah,
I was just going to give you some agita here because the police, you know, they have their list of vehicles, 120,000 miles, 119,000. I was trying to see if you could match that.
I could email that over to.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just being funny. Anyway, what is the pleasure of the committee? Do you have some questions on that, on this item?
Just a quick point, that this vehicle that we're replacing didn't cost us any money. It was because it was a donation from a townsperson, And so, I mean, this would be the first time we're putting out money for anything, any kind of vehicle or anything for the animal control.
Well, that was good news to have that without cost at original. Other questions, comments, thoughts? So this is the most competitive bid?
Yeah, I went through the state bid list, and was the best one that we came back with.
79,000, okay. Well, I mean, I think it's a very reasonable request after all these years. We are concerned about safety. So anyway, any further questions, comments?
There's just any other type of vehicle that would work, like the existing van is not, I mean, this is a pretty heavy-duty vehicle, right?
Yeah, the existing van is, we'd need something larger, more durable, and something that can get us through inclement weather, but we're also down in the sand quite a bit, it seems like, and getting stuck. So, something a little beefier.
Okay,
Is that-
any further comments? Okay, well, we'll put this in the hopper, as they say, and be thinking about it and ranking it
right.
later on. Appreciate your presentation today, Matt, and
All
good
right.
luck.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, the next category is 2B. This will be the Police Department. Chief Dunn,
Good afternoon, everyone.
good to see you. We have the package here, and please feel free to comment as you see fit.
Which presentation would you like to start with first?
Makes no difference to us.
I think the easier one right now for me would be the cruisers, because we traditionally have done that. Just want to thank the committee for last year. They endorsed 3 cruisers. Right now, they're being currently outfitted. We anticipate delivery at the end of the year. This just 2 vehicles goes with our continued replacement with our fleet maintenance program. Right now, we have 30 police officers, 29 of which live in town, so they have take-home cars, and 1 individual who lives out of town commutes. As you can see in Appendix A, in red, we have 8 police cruisers that have over 100,000 miles. An additional 3 just below it that have over 80,000 miles. So we have 11 of our fleet that have over 80,000 miles. So we're just looking to continue with our fleet maintenance program. With the 2 cruisers, I think we traditionally have gone with a 3-2-3 method, where 3 cruisers 1 year, 2 the next. Last year, it was 3, so this year we're respectively requesting 2 police cars. The bid, we went through the state bid list. However, we're still waiting for final pricing, it is yet to be confirmed, but we were doing our diligence contacting the agency. It's the same agency we used last year. Same type of package of police cruiser, I believe in uniformity, with parts. So this is the request that we have for the 2 police cruisers.
These would be the top 2 on the list in the red? Or is it by mileage, or is there other?
So yes, so car 317 and has like 120,000 miles, car 316 has 119,000, and then it goes down. So pretty much the blue, darker blue, lighter blue are newer police cars. Cruisers. Which the bottom 3 were the ones that we purchased last year through CIPC, which is car 723, 923, and 623.
Okay. Questions and comments from the committee?
Pretty straightforward.
It is, and it's been pretty consistent how we handle this. Is this the same model Ford?
No, these are Dodge Durangos.
Okay.
We've switched over to Dodge Durangos in the past 3 years or 4 years. They meet the EPA specifications.
Yeah. You pleased with them?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
I'm not the most technical or car person, but I rely on Officer Bouya, who does a great job, and he's very pleased with them, along with the maintenance that goes with them.
Great. Well, this is pretty much a routine request. These cars are constantly getting more miles on them, and we entertain, as you pointed out a minute ago, 3 1 year, 2 the next year, and so on and so forth. And if that works for you, that seems to work for us. But this is always given a lot of consideration because of the importance of public safety. And so Any other comments on these police vehicle requests? Okay, we'll take those under advisement, as we say, and see where we go with all of our capital needs. But you have more.
I do. This is more of an unanticipated request. I'm going to do my best to kind of do this chronologically so the committee can understand it. So Keith Novo, our IT director, has done a great job for both police and fire with grants, updating our 5 towers in town that we use, or repeaters that we use to communicate. So basically, a radio transmission comes in, bounces off the nearest tower, and then goes to the police or the fire station. In doing his so-called upgrade with a company called Cybercom, Cybercom wanted to meet with myself, Chief Baldwin, and Keith Novo regarding our current dispatch consoles, both in the police station as well as Station 1, the fire station on Hicksbridge Road. So we met with them in August. At the time, it was told to us by Cybercom that our dispatch consoles are so-called end of life. And I can get into that a little bit more in a second. So myself and Chief Baldwin are going to work together to present a mutual request from the two of us. However, we had a lightning strike at the police and fire station, which disabled the fire department consoles. So they are in turn getting consoles, hopefully getting consoles through insurance money. So this is why I'm here today, just for representing the police department. So first thing, I guess, is what do the consoles do, our dispatch consoles? So they dispatch police, fire, EMS. They also talk we have a Bristol County regional radio, which means we talk to all police departments in Bristol County. We also talk to Tiverton, Little Compton, state police. We also, in turn, helps out with our 911 system. So when we get a 911 call, there's a GPS location that gets pinged as to the general vicinity of the 911 call, which helps us out with missing persons. So it's not only radio communications, like I said, we handle within our department and with police and fire and EMS, it's also within our county. So what does end of life mean? So this is something I had to get educated on quite a bit. So I don't know if anybody has this packet here. If not, I can kind of walk
I
you
think
through
we
it.
do, yeah.
So this is the console that was purchased in 2017, approximately 2017, prior to building the new police station. That's one of the first questions I had to the people where Cybercom was, why we had an end-of-life stage after 7 years or 8 years within communications. It just seemed very short to me. So they kind of brought out a timeline for me. So on page 2, you'll see in the middle of the page, it'll say final order date, October 13th, 2019. That was when Motorola would accept any final orders for the current console that we purchased back in 2017, which was your run-of-the-mill standard console. It was a good console. It wasn't lavish, it wasn't cheap, it was just what was purchased at the time. So the final order date was October 19th, with a final ship date of December 31st, 2019, meaning they would not ship out this console any further after December 30th, 2019. Then you look down in the end, the bottom, it says end of release of support, December 31st, 2021, meaning Motorola would no longer support this console whatsoever. They would not make any parts, they would not service, they would not provide any help. So Cybercom has been very helpful with us. And when they mean end of life, meaning if you have a car that's break down, you would go to a junkyard and get a part. There are no parts left. So that's what it means by end of life. So currently we have two dispatch consoles in our police station, and it's based on redundancy, which is great. So one operates for 8 hours, one operates in the other 8 hours, and they flip-flop back and forth. So if one goes down, the second one, we still have operations that we can work. However, with this end of life now, and the fact that there's no additional parts, if one goes down, we're down to one. If two goes down, we're down to none. And I felt this was a time to be proactive and ask for this request. So if one goes down, now we're down to one, meaning, one headlight goes down, you always say you want to fix both headlights. That's what I was taught. But if two go down, now we can incur a significant cost to the town, because now we have to get consoles, which could be at an emergency expense to the town. So I did receive a quote. I went back and forth with them. There's some things I thought we did not need. This is the quote from Cybercom that I think best reflects what we need for our department. And it also will interface with the fire department as well. It's the same company that's doing the same project for the fire department. And yeah, just by replacing these consoles, reduce long-term maintenance costs, since these consoles, what it's meant to me, these consoles are more software upgradable than hardware upgradable. which means we'll have hopefully more of a life expectancy than the past 7 or 8 years that we had with the current system that we have in place.
What is the cost here? I got a lot of numbers here, and I just
Sure.
saw this for the first time.
So is this-
Page 3, 2, no, on this blue colored exhibit, we on page 1 of 5, where it has the AvTech 2 positions.
So this is just a breakdown of everything that they do. So you'll see the first one, quantity 2, that's the console positions of itself. So we have 2 consoles, we need 2 console positions. That's why it's at 12,835 times 2 is the 25,670. So they broke down everything that they feel as though we need within it.
So is the 25,670 the price? Because I see other numbers over here. I see 44,000 with some other, I don't know what is the exact request you're asking.
So that would be the subtotal of kind of the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be the subtotal, 40. If you add those up, that would equal 44,024.
Okay.
Because that's one section of the console. And then they would have a whole nother section of the console, which you see from gateways and endpoint hardware. So if you look, if page 1, you see AvTech 2 positions, right here. Underneath it, you'll see console operator position hardware software. So those items, and then that totals 44,024. Then you look at the gateway and endpoint hardware software, that's on page 2. That goes all the way down to the middle of, or then page 3. That totals 26,019.
Okay, I see that.
Then you go racking equipment, that totals, and then that totals, and then it goes down from there.
So the grand total that you need is $120,011?
Yes, that's the grand total.
And this is to replace two?
Two
Two co-
consoles.
replace
Both
the
consoles.
Okay.
Yes. I think it's beneficial if you replace one, you might as well replace 2.
So would this be considered the priority 2 now, Chief?
I would deem this critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would definitely be a priority.
Did we talk about this last year at all?
No, we did not.
Yeah.
No, this was, again, this was unanticipated for us. This was brought up to us by the company and Keith Novo back in August with myself and Chief Baldwin. And that's when we decided to move on it, and then the lightning strike happened, and we kind of, Chief Baldwin went for the insurance, which rightfully so, and I'm here today.
Yeah. Questions, comments, thoughts from everybody?
Is there insurance money for the police as well, or just?
Not for the
fire?
dispatch consoles. We did not suffer damage to dispatch consoles. It was the camera, a couple doors, phones, our automatic transfer switch for our generator, and a couple other minor things. That's what we're going through for insurance.
And has Keith looked into any other grants for any kind of?
He hasn't gotten back to me. I can circle back with him.
I'm just-
I mean, there could be a grant that comes up in November that we don't know about yet, but
Yep.
that's something where, obviously, we will definitely explore if that becomes available, and I'll let Mr. Hartnett know, or members of the committee know if that grant becomes available.
Okay, and with the police vehicles, the total would be,
I believe it was 178,000 for the 2.
So we're looking at about 275 grand for both requests.
Yes, I'm just adding right now, it's like 298 maybe?
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
yeah.
yep.
okay. All right. Well, we understand the need. It's unfortunate that we have to do this now. It's kind of, unlike the vehicles, this was a sudden request, so we
Sure.
had no plan for it. That doesn't really change anything. If you need it, you need it, and that's, make a case accordingly, which you are making very effectively, I think. So, on this item, which we'll call priority 2, we'll just take note and do what we normally do and add them up. But you have other priorities here too, I see.
It's just the 2 priorities. One is the what I feel is critical is the communication consoles, and then we have the 2 police cruisers.
Okay.
It's the two different requests.
But you have in the narrative, I see, an earlier priority 2 PFASs, and then priority 3 emergency response truck.
I think you're into the fire.
This is
department.
fire? Okay, moving ahead, these are all, yeah, they're all blended together, yeah, got it. Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay, any further questions on this? Okay, well, thank you, chief.
Thank you for your
Do
time.
the best we can.
Appreciate it. Have a nice week.
Thank you. Okay, I think the next is the fire chief. We've got a lot of papers floating around here. Let me get my agenda. Chief Baldwin, welcome once again.
Thank you. How's everybody doing? I'm relieved to see that I don't have the biggest dollar amounts on the screen. Normally, I'm in a very, very hot seat. Having said that, I do want to just briefly provide an update and thank the committee for the fire engine. As you know, that's a very long-term investment, 25, 30 years typically in the town of Westport. That engine is due in the next week or two. Price came in very well. We were able to outfit it. I think it's an awesome piece of equipment purchased from Bulldog Fire Apparatus right here in Westport, so that's even better. Viewed the truck last week. Progress is moving forward, and it's going to be a nice vehicle. And it's going to put us in excellent position, probably the best position this department's been in as far as equipment and apparatus in I want to say, decades. I've been here for 3 of them, so that's well. We continue to do what we can to offset the need for capital items, making small purchases. We did finally purchase a small 15-foot 6-inch inflatable rigid bottom boat for under $10,000 at the end of last fiscal year. It was deployed last week in its first mission. Not a great mission, mental health issue, somebody in the water. A person was found not in the water, but on land. So already the vehicle's had a use. Working with the harbor master, we've already been in the water with that vessel, again, not meant for the ocean, but desperately needed, as I've explained in the past. And I think we're going to be good for now, as far as the fire department goes, working with the harbor master on maybe bigger purchases for the river and the ocean. We did recently receive last week a $56,000 federal grant to offset EMS equipment, 3 stair chairs, which again will just only continue to improve the equipment that we use to deliver services, quality services to the residents of Westport. There is a small 5% match, which is going to come out of our EMS fund, right around $2,800. Looking long-term, the next vehicle that we would need, which I'm not asking for and hope to not ask for, would be a tanker. It's about a $500,000 piece of equipment. The tanker that we have now is about 20 years old. It's still in good shape. We have some minor electrical issues on it that we can get through. The good news is, as I've explained in the past, the federal grant program, Assistance to Firefighter Program, they issue about 2,000 awards a year, about 150 for vehicles, very, very hard to get. The good news is that what we currently have is an 1,800-gallon tanker pumper. Okay, fire apparatus is classified into different classifications. They do not consider the tanker pumper that we have to be a tanker. So on paper, the town of Westport, which does not have hydrants, does not have a tanker. It's very good news, because when I write a grant next year for a 3,000-gallon tanker, which we need, and we have proven to need, every other community around us has at least 3,000, I think we're going to be in really good position to potentially get that award. We got an award for a ladder truck through FEMA when Deputy Sam Manley was here, simply because the town did not have a ladder truck. So not having a tanker, I think, puts us in a really good position. And obviously, if I can write a grant and get a $500,000 truck, and that would be really good. So we're gonna work on that, and I think 1 to 5 years. Typically, you put in for a grant the first time, maybe it doesn't work out, but usually it does. So in other words, we're going to continue to move forward. We are going to need a new ambulance, so we're going to start speccing one out. Delivery times for an ambulance, if placed today, would not be till late 2028, early 2029, which is crazy, but 3 or 4 years out, approaching $500,000. The good thing about that is that the EMS revolving supports that purchase, and I would not need to come to the capital committee or to the taxpayer. EMS revolving is funded through insurance reimbursements, billing. So that's what we've always done in the past. That's what we're going to do. The good thing, too, is you build up the ambulance, you lock in the price, you pay upon delivery. we wouldn't have to pay for 4 years. We've made some projections based on our EMS revolving income, expected expenditures, and where we'll be in 2029. We will be able to pay for the ambulance and still have a healthy balance to continue our operations. So I think, again, really good position. We received a $130,000 earmark from Senator Roderick's office to offset the cost of 3 new cardiac monitors. Cardiac monitors are used multiple times throughout the day on our EMS calls. They're $65,000 apiece. We originally asked for funding for 1. He doubled it to 2. Negotiating with the vendor, we've got the price down. We're going to require a little bit of money out of the EMS revolving, which is why it's there, to purchase the 3rd. Again, these are 8 to 10-year units, and we're able to find a way without going through capital or the taxpayer, which is one of our main goals. So as you know, every year we provide an extensive packet which was sent electronically to the town administrator. I do have one packet here if anybody needs it. I'll go over some of the items on it this year. Pretty straightforward. I do feel it's important. We are a large operation. We are a large department. We have 2 buildings. We have a large variety of equipment and apparatus. So I separated it out into operations, which includes apparatus and equipment, and facilities. Priority 1, to me, would be replacing the fire prevention officer's vehicle. It's a 2017 Ford Explorer. It has over 100,000 miles. It's still in good shape. We maintain our vehicles. We have a robust preventative maintenance program. He conducts about 1,700 inspections, visits, tours, pre-plans a year. He's also a lieutenant and a paramedic, so in addition to his FPO duties, which he's a day position, so he's Monday through Friday, he also responds to anything, whether it's motor vehicle crash, building fire alarm activation, et cetera. He brings in about $25,000 at least annually in revenue through inspections and permitting fees. I have presented a couple of times, and I do intend to present it again, the establishment of a revolving account, minimal amount of money from those fees, maybe $5,000 to $10,000 to offset the cost of a vehicle. I haven't made it to the warrant yet, but I'll keep trying. That way I wouldn't have to come here and ask for $75,000 for a vehicle for him. We're looking to pick up trucks because for the fire service, they're much more versatile. We can put extra hose in there following up a call. We can plow if needed. A lot of times he visits sites that are under construction, requiring the use of four-wheel drive, ground clearance, et cetera. And again, he is a responder, so snow, et cetera, he's out there. So pickup truck, I think, is more applicable for our line of work. I actually kind of like to see us to get away from the SUVs. I think they limit what we are able to do. And then what we tend to do and what we would do with his vehicle, being that it is still roadworthy, that would fall back into a scaled-back role in day-to-day use. Our CARES program, potentially EMA division, training, et cetera. It's a backup vehicle if something's out getting an oil change, or his vehicle's getting an oil change and he needs something. We probably could sneak a few more years out of it, but it is time to start looking at replacing it. Do you want me to stop at each priority if
Yeah, that'd be
anybody has
good.
questions?
In case anybody has any questions on a particular item, I think this one is fairly easy to understand. And I don't see any questions, so feel free to
Okay.
go ahead.
The next one is a little bit interesting, and I'll be as brief as I can on it. So 5 sets of PFAS-free firefighting turnout gear for new hires, okay? Not a big deal, seems like a normal request. There's a little twist to this, though. I hope to obviously go to the town once again and ask to increase our staffing level. We're still too short from our 2008 plan. Okay, so I'm hoping we get there this year. And we also could use some new call firefighters as well. PFAS-free gear, whether it's PFAS-free or not PFAS-free, it's still averaging $5,000 to $6,000 for a set of gear. We able to hire 4 new corpsmen this past year, thanks to a grant. I will try again for a grant, but we did get a grant in this past fiscal year we just came out of for firefighting gear. But I couldn't hire them without that grant. And we desperately need staffing, so I can't say, well, geez, if we get the gear, we'll be able to hire staff. We need the staff. The PFAS-free gear is a new legislation that's come out in the state of Massachusetts, probably spanning nationwide if it hasn't already. After 2027, manufacturer can no longer sell gear that has PFAS in it because of the cancer risk that it's creating within the fire service. At some point, and our union members have been understanding to this point, and they understand the situations that we're in, we're going to have to face the need to replace everybody's gear. everybody is gonna have to get out of this PFAS-free gear, because studies are showing that it's causing cancer in the fire service. You put it on, your body heats up, it off-gases, and that's why this legislation is there. What I'm hoping is that I'm not gonna have to come here next year or after 2027 and ask for 30 new sets of firefighting gear, and typically everybody gets 2, so really 60 times 5 to 6,000, and there we have 360 grand, right? So we're hoping that there's gonna be some funding from either the federal government, state government. I know FCAM, the Fire Chiefs Association, is working with Boston as far as what that's all gonna look like. Right now, that's not there. But any gear that we purchase moving forward would be PFAS-free, which is why I'm just pointing out why it says PFAS-free in this. It is not. It is twofold. It's because I need to start transitioning my members to PFAS, whether there's grant money or not. One of the biggest things as a fire chief is I say, who do I pick to replace the gear first? Top guys, you're a senior, so you get the gear, but the bottom guys, you're still at risk. That's one of the issues I have with this whole legislation. It's putting us in a very difficult position where we have to almost pick and choose who gets the gear first. That's not right. But let's hope there's some grant money coming down the pipe. Regardless, though, our call firefighter levels have dropped below 10. The pool of applicants for full-time jobs across the state is very tough right now. And having a good call firefighting force is really the foundation for building up our career force. We need to strengthen that. Our call volumes continue to climb and our staffings remain stagnant. So I'm hoping, A, to get funding to add to the career line, but at the very least, add at least 2 or 3 new call firefighters, which we've been drawing from that Explorer program. So, it's a really good, we have a good plan in place, to increase our staffing. We're giving kids a future, some sort of career path in this world that we're in now. And that's where we're at there, about 30 grand, so it's coming into about $6,000 a set of gear. Back when I got on, it was 2,000, and you paid for your own gear when I got on. You bought it, it was short of soldier commitment to the department. But now to ask a call firefighter who might not even make $6,000 a year to spend $6,000 a year in gear is kind of a lot, So that's the first time we've entered that into our requests in several years. Is there any questions?
Chief, I have a question. So
Sure.
this is 5 sets, that's 5 employees, or is that,
Yeah, it would be 5. It would be 5. I'm looking to hopefully get 5 employees, whether they're 5 callmen, combination,
Right.
the 2 additional career that we're seeking, and 3 call, or 5 call, whatever staffing level I can get
Yeah.
the town to support.
so whatever we,
Would help to offset that cost.
yeah, assuming we don't have any grants, would this be like every year we need 5 sets till
So
you get to?
what we have been doing is,
wanna be?
if I can, any gear that I can pull out of the replace equipment line in our budget, we do. That cost has also risen substantially, though, but we've been replacing gear on a fairly regular basis, a couple of sets a year. We have a replacement schedule, which in some ways is almost disappointing because it's worked out so well, and now this PFAS, which I understand the whole reason for the PFAS-free, I support it, but we work so hard at giving everybody. So NFPA says if your gear is over 10 years old, it's no longer compliant. So for years we were on gear that's 17, 19 years old. You're not even allowed to go to the fire academy and participate in a live burn unless your gear is compliant. So we've now cycled everybody through where everybody's got a set of compliant gear. Some of us still have a set of non-compliant as our secondary backup. If they have a building fire or they're exposed to a chemical of some sort, whatever it is, gasoline spill, and their gear has to be sent out to be cleaned, or even cleaned in the station and then hung to dry, and they're still on duty, they have to have a second set to fall back in. So we're getting very close to that, and now this PFAS comes out. So in other words, we have, in my opinion, what's perfectly good gear that may not be accepted by standard, and then even get rid of that gear, they're now calling it hazardous material, so there's a hazardous material disposal fee to get rid of the gear that we're putting on our bodies. So
And this is a result of legislations you point out here?
correct.
It was effective January
Correct.
1st and 25?
Mhm.
Yeah. And so as of January 1st, 27, the PFAS will be, that equipment will be prohibited statewide.
Right, to sell. It doesn't mean we can't wear it.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the next step, and obviously the employees, you would expect, are gonna start saying, why am I still wearing this cancer-causing gear?
Yeah. Okay, any questions on this item for the chief? Okay,
Purchased an EMA truck. So our EMA division is a small group of employees, a couple of which are volunteers. Some are mostly retired call firefighters and full-time firefighters that provide rehab services. They would be staffing shelters. They would be assisting police and fire with road blockages during certain storms, hurricanes especially, et cetera, things of that nature. The only vehicle that they have to use is a bus that was donated many years ago by Whaling City Transit, I want to say, on Sanford Road. Stand by. It's the only vehicle they have. It's the only vehicle. We've never purchased a vehicle for that division. They never had a payroll allocated for them until last year. We're hearing more and more about the risk of storms, possible storms, and it's just a division that I feel needs to be, assisted. I'm also looking at, I talked to Chief Dunn, instead of tying up, Dartmouth is doing this now, instead of tying up a police car or a fire engine at a wires down call, especially during thunderstorms where multiple trees come down, Dartmouth is putting the EMA people on the road, freeing up other essential public service agencies like police and fire so they can respond to other calls. And they're using the EMA personnel to block off roads until Eversource gets there, et cetera. The only vehicle that my members have, they're not firefighters anymore, they're not EMS providers anymore, so putting them in a piece of fire apparatus is not obviously something that we're going to do, or putting them in an ambulance is not something that we're going to do. We put them in a bus and we have them head out. They need a vehicle. So again, we're looking at a pickup truck for them. They'd be able to carry lighting, they'd be able to carry equipment, they'd be able to tow our, they actually could be used to tow our DEP oil spill trailer, which is, we house for the state of Massachusetts, which we would use in our waterways. Nothing's ever been purchased for them, other than maybe some lighting and, small equipment like that. But as far as the vehicle goes, they do not have one, and they're asking me on a regular basis for one. I'm looking at potentially, I've never done it, but there's a USDA grant that comes out often, and every once in a while it has to do with rural response, suburban response to emergencies, also, in addition to agriculture. I keep looking to see if that's available, but nothing's come out yet. If it is, I intend to write a grant to provide EMA with a vehicle, but I don't know if that's even going to be available. So I'm just putting this out there. If you would support it, I would appreciate it. The members would appreciate it. Again, it's a department that does not require a lot of money out of the operating budget, but at some point, the bus, which is rotting, is going to need to be replaced. I'm sure I have it in my, it's a 2006 E350. It's 20 years old and has 102,000 miles.
The replacement vehicle would be a pickup truck, you said?
Yeah, I think that would be the best option. We've talked about maybe a transit van, but I think a pickup truck, as I stated earlier, really would have more benefit all the way around.
Do you know if there's any funding through the Red Cross? Because I know they work directly with they work closely with the Red Cross, like in emergency situations like that?
So I don't know that, and I'll ask that. I know that, I just talked to Ann this morning about, so we did, Fall River, we were getting a grant for the CARES program in combination with Fall River. Fall River's under some new, their EMS side and their EMA side is under some new leadership. They decided to go separate ways, part ways with Westport. And as a result, neither Westport nor Fall River got that grant funding for the CARES division. They want to see communities collaborate. So we were talking about this morning, and Ann was saying she's even having a tough time getting Red Cross funding just for smoke alarms now. So I don't know, but I'll ask. It doesn't hurt. It's a good idea. They may have a certain program for vehicles. Any questions on that?
Comment.
Comment.
Going back to Chief Dunn, who is requesting a vehicle for, was it the safety officer and replace their vehicle? Right now, there's a vehicle that's being used by the police safety officer, looking to replace it with a Dodge Durango.
Yeah, okay.
Right now, it's a pickup truck.
That would, so,
I'm wondering if they're, if obviously all the pieces fall into place,
Right.
is there a possibility of looking at that secondary vehicle, which is what the
Yeah.
chief called it?
yep, no, absolutely there is. So I talk to Chief Dunn all the time, and I actually call him up every once in a while, and I say, if you have a cruiser, you have anything, let me know.
Okay.
We got rid of a cruiser this year. It was Chief Pelletier's vehicle. It was a 2010 Ford Explorer. With everything else, the frame rotted, and wouldn't pass inspection. It actually got towed behind Town Hall in July. So we do take advantage of whatever the police has to hand me down. We do take advantage of that, and I would absolutely grab that truck if he said I have no use for it. And my thought is that his cruisers would get funded before my EMA truck, so that may work out where, and I'll touch base with him after
It may.
the
It was
meeting,
just a
to put the
flash
bug in his
thinking,
ear.
you know.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be helpful. And so I will run that by him. But we are usually in contact about anything he has. I don't really want his Crown Vics, to be honest with you, because those are better days, but if he has something else,
You'd look good in it.
if he has something else, I'll take it. And so, as far as operations go, the Cascade system at Station 1, again, thank the committee for replacing the Cascade system at Station 2. That new system that was approved last year is in place, it is functioning, and it's here. The Cascade system at Station 1, the new fire station, which is now 16 years old, is still functioning. It did have an issue this summer. It was able to be repaired, minimal, cost maybe $500, but the vendor did say, well, thank God it wasn't the motherboard, because that would have been the end of it. So we're approaching end of life on that unit. So it, obviously, I would encourage the committee to support it this year. Maybe we can squeeze another year out of it if the funding's just not there. I just want to be honest with everybody and say that, you know, we may be able to get another year out of it, but we are on borrowed time. And we would obviously mimic the same system that we got at Station 2. We'd have interoperability between both, and it's 16 years old, so it's going to, you know, it's going to see its time. That, just so everybody knows what that exactly does, that replaces the air, the breathing air in our Scott packs. So after any call, not just a fire, smell of gas, carbon monoxide, anything like that, we're on air, and we have to top off the tanks afterwards. So that's something that would need to be replaced. Facilities, this is I'm going to label this a very high priority that needs to get done. The air condenser, AC condenser for Station 1, which is the facility on Hicksbridge Road. As you know, it's a large facility. It's got three levels. The condenser outside the building has 4, I'm not an HVAC guy, it's got 4 units, so it's got 4 fans. Half of the unit is leaking in the aluminum fins that can't be fixed, confirmed by 2 different HVAC contractors. So 2 of the fans subsequently aren't working. So the building's only running on half power. We made it through the summer, which was good, because I was afraid the other half was going to break down. I got a quote from a couple of different vendors, one in town. We added the prevailing wage numbers, and it's going to come in under 50. Not too much under 50, but it's going to come in under 50. Could be actually closer to 30, but I've learned my lesson about inflation. So we budgeted just to be sure we could cover it. But we are 100% on borrowed time with that unit. If that half fails, which the other half already has, the way the system runs, and I don't understand it, but 24/7, 365, the AC is turned on and the heat is turned on. It's not always calling for one or the other, but it balances the air in the building. When we first moved in, somebody shut off the heat, and in 2 or 3 days, we had mildew all over the walls in the training room because the air wasn't balanced. It has to be balanced, you know, so I was really nervous over the summer that if that failed, and even if it fails and I call up town administrator and say I need emergency funds or however that works, it's still a process. You got to order the equipment, you got to get it installed. Meanwhile, we got an issue. So that needs to be replaced. Everything else has been okay. There's been a couple of positive things that have come out of it, is that when it did break, we were able to Keith Novo came and re-up the computer that we found in the HVAC room that controls the whole system. I was able to get in there and make some modifications with the help of somebody that I was, town administrator hooked me up with, that understands the computer. It's a computer-based system. Basically, it takes the air temperature outside and regulates inside, and it was stuck at 90 degrees, so it just said, if it was 0 degrees, the system thought it was 90 degrees outside. Air that comes in the building and discharges, we were just wasting money and energy, is a long story short. So, but now I do have to get in there and manually make some adjustments because one of the sensors that measures the ambient outdoor temperature doesn't work. But I think we're maybe saving a little bit of money in expenses by regulating it better. So there was a positive that came out of it. We learned a couple of things, but that needs to be replaced. Again, we're running on borrowed time on that. Any questions? We're looking at a heat pump too. But I don't know much about it, but I guess it saves a lot of cost for the AC unit. It just has to be compatible with the HVAC unit on the second floor. The fuel tanks at Station 2, last year's request, I think, was 110. We just got a new request. It's gone up to 120. Those tanks are showing some wear and some cracking in the cement containment unit. It has no spill protection. They were installed in 1996. It's primarily used for the apparatus at Station 2, so that way they can stay in their area or their district of town. It would also be a secondary means if these pumps were to go down. It was used back when we had that blizzard, when we were measuring snow in feet and not inches, and highway was using it, and police department was using it, so they didn't have to travel all the way south. So it's definitely has a use. We use it all the time. Since I've been here last, we've spent $3,000 on the diesel pump, which failed. The gasoline side is the same age. The mechanics inside, an old analog pump. When you pump, it just spins. We can't read the screen or the rotating numbers anymore on the gasoline side, at least. We can now with the new pump, so we can't track how much gas is going in and out. There's really no security other than a padlock. This unit over here allows us to see what vehicles are using, how much fuel, making sure that nobody with a key is getting in there and doing anything they shouldn't be doing, which I don't believe that's the case, obviously, but we're lacking security in that aspect, lacking spill protection. The longer we wait, the higher the price is going to go, and I think it's something that really should be considered. Any questions?
From the committee, any questions here? So are these tanks exclusively for the use of Station Number 2?
Yeah, I mean, there would be, honestly, I think if we were to go to a system similar to Town Hall, where we all have a key fob, it could be used for anybody. Any cruisers in the north end, and they need to fill up there rather than come down south and wasting fuel. Highway department, but it is primarily for us. That way, when we return to quarters, the ambulance or the fire apparatus, we don't have to come all the way down to the south end, get a call, and then have to respond back to the north end. So it allows them to stay in their district. I was, at the time when they were put in, I was just started here, actually, in 1995, so I don't know what the original need was, or what argument was put forth to say, hey, we need these tanks at Station 2, but they're there, and I definitely see the purpose for them and the need.
Do they present any environmental hazard?
Yeah, there's no spill protection. When you go to the filling station like Cumberland Farms, you have the cement pad with the ridges that stops if you were to have a spill or an overspill. That does not exist. There are cracks in the case. It's in a cement case, basically. There are cracks in the cement case, which means water's getting in, water's freezing over the winter. With each passing winter, the cracks get bigger. I believe if I don't have pictures, I apologize, but I thought I may have added some pictures, but there may not be pictures in this packet.
Oh, you're looking for that. How often does the Department of Environmental Protection get involved?
Every year, we have to submit paperwork on it.
They physically inspect the tanks?
No. Actually, half the time we submit the paper, we don't even get acknowledgement that we fill out the form and send it in. But it is a DEP site. They're aware of it.
Okay, I guess those are all the questions on that item, but you can feel free to proceed.
Okay. Windows and trim, this is an interesting one in a way, because we've been asking for the windows and trim to be replaced for a while. We did replace the trim on the garage doors out of the operating budget 2 years ago. We had touched base with Diamond, who did the work on the HVAC system at Station 2, and they expressed interest in doing the windows and exterior trim, and I'm pretty sure they wanted to do it this school year. I haven't heard from them yet, but if they call me and say that they set aside students in the project, I didn't get the funding last year, so I don't have the material. So I'm kind of hoping that doesn't happen, because obviously we'd probably be able to cut this cost in half. So I'm going to just cross that bridge when it comes. If the school moved on to a different project, then they won't be calling me. But I hope, in some ways I hope they do call and say that they have the kids available to do the work. And then I'll have to figure out what the materials cost and how I can fund it, because I think we can shave that price down dramatically. But that was all the windows going to PVC, trim, doors. I definitely included pictures of that. You can't lock half the windows in the building, so there's a security issue. The cold air comes through the cracks. We've used some caulk and tried to tried to weatherproof them, et cetera. Trim's rotting off the building, it's beyond paint. We did do the garage doors out of the budget, you know, we're trying to do what we can in little increments. And honestly, my guys would normally, that'd be a job they'd tackle, there's just too much there for them to tackle. You know, we're talking about soffits and eaves and everything else. Other than that, the building, the vinyl's new, the roof is new, the addition, the Morton side is, Morton building is new, so the building's in okay shape, but if we want to make it look presentable and be proud of our facilities in town, we really should consider doing the trim. Again, I'll update the committee if Diamond calls, and if we put together a material list and it's something that I can somehow swing,
Okay.
I would remove this from the list.
Would you be putting some money in the budget for materials?
I was level funded this year, so no. We'll see what we can do. Even if I have Diamond do a portion of the building, you know, PVC's come down a little bit, so I'm not sure what it would really cost. We probably wouldn't be doing doors and windows out of the operating budget, that I can tell you.
Yeah.
But maybe some trim. Plus, a lot of the trim there is kind of, I don't want to say decorative and fancy, but we were just gonna do flat stock, you know, not make it look decent, but flat stock, you know, eliminate some of the labor, you know.
Any idea of the breakout between labor and material?
No,
Okay.
I could look that up, but I can look it up, maybe give you an answer when I sit.
You get the call
Yeah.
from Diamond,
Right.
what are we looking at as far as material?
Can't remember if they,
15, 25, I
Yep.
have no idea, just.
okay, I'll try and get that number. Station 1 hot water heater, there's definitely a picture of this. It's 16 years old, it's exceeded its lifespan. For whatever reason, it's $25,000. It's a 100-gallon tank. I say for whatever reason because a hot water heater in your regular house is not that much
Yeah,
money, but
I
it's.
questioned that when I
Yeah,
read it.
and I questioned it too. And I probably have it in my narrative. It's the size of the boiler and the type for commercial. I can't quite remember. I'm sorry. I wish I did, but I don't have it here. I verified the price, and I was given. It's a certain type of. There's a name for it. I'll look it up, and I'll let you know. But we're on borrowed time with that. I'm just trying to prevent a disaster. That's all I'm trying to do.
Why going through right now?
Oh, you have a leak too?
I have a disaster, yes, with the water heater. That's why I know how much they cost. I've been looking for.
Yeah, I
I've
replaced
been
mine. It
looking
was
them
like
up, yeah.
$1,500 for the heater itself,
Yeah.
and then you got to add the labor. But that is the price that was given by a local plumber, not a commercial plumber or anybody that's looking to, you know, gouge a municipality or anything like that. It's a local guy, but it's a type of hot water heater that's in the building, just for whatever reason carries a higher price tag. Again, I'm just worried, as you see in the picture, you've already got rusty water dripping out of some of the components on it. And it's just an older, I actually wonder if we can get away from that and use something completely different, to save some operating costs. And then the Station 1 siding. So I had a company come to the station in the last couple of weeks. He added a prevailing wage to the number. He came in at 75, I added a little bit of a buffer and put it at 80. He thinks, in his opinion, and he's a commercial painter out of New Bedford, they do large buildings, municipal buildings all the time. While there may be some shingles here and there that need to be replaced, he was fairly comfortable that, in his words, the shingles are just thirsty, and they're dried up, and that's why they're curling and look so bad. With some preventative maintenance, some power washing, and some staining, we can rejuvenate the life of the shingles and extend the life of the shingles before we are looking at replacement. Some of them weren't flashed right, and they're touching the asphalt shingles, and so it's wicking, and you're getting some rot, but he said that's minor, they replace them as they go. And so, and I will say that when I first started doing the capital plan, I was new, I didn't understand a lot about procurement and prevailing wage, and I thought my number, which was given to me by a regular painter, not including prevailing wage at all, was low. And so I expected this guy to come in much, much higher than this. And he, 100%, that's all he does is commercial and municipal buildings. He knew exactly what I was looking for price-wise. I thought he was gonna come in the hundreds, and he came in at 80. So like I said, 75, actually. I put it up to 80. Just reiterate the fact that it's a newer building. Again, it's 16 years old already. It's on Hicksbridge Road, highly traveled area in town. We want to maintain it. We want the public to drive by and, you know, proud of their facilities that they have funded. And I think we need to do, in return, upkeep buildings that the taxpayers are paying for, before it gets out of hand, and then the next thing we're doing is replacing shingles, which then you'll have costs in the hundreds. So, this is the 4th or 5th year I've put this on our list, and I understand there's only so much money to go around. But that is a very true number, a very accurate number. I hate to put it at the bottom as number 5, because I think it's a priority, but things like air conditioning units and fuel tanks need to come first, you know. As I usually say every year, all of our items I feel are a top priority, but you have to put a number to them, that's where they fell, for me at least. And
Chief, does it make any sense to consider what many homeowners in town do with shingle buildings and do one side a year for 4 years?
I would
I'm just
say, yeah,
tossing it out as it may not.
Yeah.
The south side for sure gets beat up the most,
that is the worst side.
without a doubt.
Yep.
The north side, less so, east-west, you know, whatever. I'm just tossing that out as a thought to cut the 80 grand into.
Yeah, absolutely. I would support that. As a taxpayer, I would support that. I mean, that makes sense to me. I don't have the north side is in good shape. The south side, you're 100% right, is not. That's the worst. The stain is gone.
Right.
You're seeing bare wood on most of the shingles. And so I would be happy to contact the contractor that I spoke with and see if he can break it out a little bit more and send those numbers to the committee.
Do it over a cash flow of
Yeah, and just see, you know,
3 years, 4 years, whatever it might be,
You think-
or even 2 years.
it's
you
not
know.
quite 4 sides, but, you know, the south side actually has the least amount of shingles because of all the garage doors, you
Right.
know? So,
Right, but the south side is what they look at first.
right, exactly. So you start there, it might not be a heavy hit in year 1.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 20, you know, so, I'd be happy to do that. If anything that's gonna get the ball in motion,
Okay.
I would support and do what I can do on my end to get you those numbers.
Chief, there's 2 lists here in effect, operations and then facilities, and ranked separately. If you would combine them, just with the help of the committee, what would be the priority listing then? Would
The air conditioning.
it, I mean, the overall
I
priority?
think the AC needs to be done. I don't know anything about Legionnaire's disease or anything like that, but those are the things that are starting to worry me about that building. If we can't balance the air in that building, I don't know what's gonna happen to the interior of the building. If we have mold and mildew, we have a health problem,
So would
an
that,
employee problem.
compared to the other 4 above, would that jump up to the 1 or 2 in that listing? If you've combined the listings, let's say.
Yeah, so I would say air conditioner, priority 1, FPO vehicle, priority 2. He's on the road 5 days a week, and he comes in for fires off duty on the weekend when he's around, and night, so, it's 1 and 2, and his position generates revenue. You know, in 3 years, his revenue has offset the cost of that vehicle, that he's gonna get 10 years out of, as we've proven, time again. But I'd have to say that we really have to get that AC condenser fixed. I know we don't need air conditioning, like, we don't need to be cool. It's not a matter of that. It's not a matter of comfort. We can open windows. It's a matter of what's gonna happen in that building if we're not balancing the air. You know, I'm not an HVAC expert, so I
Yeah.
can't tell you, but I know 100% for a fact, when one of those units was shut down, we had mold and mildew. Sam Manley, if anybody still talks to him, you can attest to it. It was a big shock. Went downstairs and it was on the walls. So,
Yeah,
I don't wanna go down that route.
what I would hope that would, it doesn't happen immediately, it's a long process before,
It's a basement level, so that's the issue.
yeah,
It's humid, very humid.
yeah,
And typically, the AC would draw the humidity out.
Right.
So if we lose that,
right, right.
you know, I can't tell you exactly what happened and why it happened so quickly, but I distinctly remember it. And
Okay.
the members were actually down there with bleaching water, wiping the walls down.
Questions on all of these items from the committee?
The only other thing I would also just reiterate is I think that outdoor condenser number's probably gonna come in a little bit lower.
Okay.
I don't know how much, but I think a little bit lower. So,
Well, we'll go-
And we always return, we're returning about 6,000 out of the Cascade system, so if there's money to return, we will return it.
Yeah.
I just budgeted 50 because of what I've seen with costs of goods and materials going up. You know, labor costs. I know a mechanic's gonna have to go up almost $200 an hour. So the costs are going up for labor. So when this is to be replaced, we're talking almost 9 months from now. So who knows where we are then, so. I just,
Oh, we'll just use the numbers you presented.
Yeah.
For the time being. Okay, any other question, any other items you want to talk about?
no.
Okay, is the committee satisfied with that? Chief, I'd like to thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it, and good luck. Okay, and last but not least is the Marine Services. We have a Harbor Master Chase with us today. Well, sometimes that's a good thing.
Those three are tough act to follow.
Just a quick, the picture here is just a stock photo, it's not the boat these guys are looking for. So I wanted to put something on the slide.
We're looking at something bigger.
I guess we start with, from the top. So the building that I operate out of, you've probably all seen, is the Harbor Master Shack. It's down at the town dock. Exterior-wise, it's failed just about everywhere. We have roof shingles that are missing. We have exterior shingles that are curled up. We have trim that is rotting. We have windows that need to be replaced, as well as the door. And all of this sits in a flood zone. My biggest fear going forward a couple of years is that if we don't address this now, we're going to have a bigger problem in the future. In other words, we need to address these issues to make it weathertight now, or we risk losing the whole building. We looked up in, there's a small attic, and we were looking for water egress, or ingress, I guess is the word, through the ceiling. We didn't see much of it, but it's tough to see. There's a lot of boxes and stuff all stuffed in there, which we haven't emptied out yet. The bottom line is this building is in terrible condition, and it needs to be addressed. The $100,000 figure was a general number that I threw out there, as well as the $600,000 for the patrol vessel. It looks like we would come in under $100,000. I've got a couple of estimates. One is from DeRoche Construction. They do a lot of work over in the harbor. It's a friend of mine. Came over one day and he said to do the exterior shingles, trim windows and doors would be about $30,500. I just got an estimate here today from Richie's Insulation to blow because there's no insulation in this building either. There's no heat in it. The insulation is about $1,700. Tomorrow at noontime, I have the folks from Family Heating and HVAC, the outfit across from the high school. They're gonna come down and give us an estimate on what it would cost to heat the building. Just a mini split of some sort, wouldn't take much. So I think the bottom line is that $100,000 number is probably way too high. But I didn't wanna lowball it and then have to kind of backtrack. So those two numbers are, well, we'll talk about the second one in a minute. So I suspect somewhere around $75,000 might rehab this building, insulate it, button it up with some windows and doors, and make it operational in the winter. It's been fine over the course of the summer right now, but the colder it gets, the more difficult it is to work in an office environment, and we have to spend a lot of time administratively with the programs that we're working on within the department. So working in that building over the course of the winter on a daily basis is going to be a requirement. So I guess what I can tell all of you is that I'm still working on that bottom line figure. There's one thing I have to plead ignorance on, and that is, oh, sorry, Valerie. You missed all that? Okay. I'm not familiar with the whole prevailing wage aspect to all of this. I have spoken to a couple of contractors who said, if this is a prevailing wage job, I'm not interested. I don't know what that means, to tell you the truth. I guess it's difficult for them to price this out. Again, I'm going to plead ignorance on that one. But I can say, I think this, either way, this should come in under $100,000. But I think this is about preserving this office space before it has to be replaced completely.
Okay, questions, comments? Well, I live on the point, and I see it's been there a long time. It's really not adequate for the staff, and it's got a number of problems. I've been wondering myself over the years, what happens to that? It's got to be refurbished at some point or rebuilt. So I guess this is,
I asked Rick Smith to reach out to Garrett Struck, because I guess the historical committee has to weigh in on this as well.
yeah.
So that may change the dynamics. I don't know where, but we're putting the pieces together, Dick, and I think at some point we'll have something more fine-tuned. It's going to take a little bit of time to get all these numbers together. But I think we can safely say it'll be under $100,000.
I don't know if this is a question for you or Jim, but could this be eligible for CPC money?
Yeah, you know, it possibly could, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a historical building, it would be under historic preservation.
That would
Could
be
be.
really helpful.
What is the definition of an historic building? What's the age?
Well, it's interesting, right, because they just, I think last year they approved funding for the Point Church, but to do work on the building in the back of the church, which is a newer addition, because it was in the district, and I'm not sure how it qualified or didn't qualify, but I would think that
Well, that was built in the late 1960s,
the addition,
the addition,
yeah,
The Howland Hall, is that what we're talking
Yeah.
about?
yes.
Yeah.
which predates the Harbor Masters building by quite a bit, I would imagine. Not quite a bit, but predates it.
When do you think the Harbor Master building went in? What is it? I thought you.
I know that Chip Gillespie designed it. It was an old friend of mine. He's passed, but
I think it's worth checking out. If this-
I mean, I'm not opposed to it, I'm just saying that what's the qualifications for?
I don't know offhand.
That's the question, is it more about the district or the building itself?
I think that was the argument with the work they're doing on the church, was it's within the district, and, yeah, I think it's something we need to check.
Mhm.
The other question, has it been flooded in the last, do you know, like Hurricane Bob, was that flooded, was it?
that was 91. I don't recall it getting up to the floorboards there, Jim, but just last winter and the winter before, there were winter storms, not even hurricanes, that submerged the town dock. So if the town dock is submerged, then the floor is not too far behind. I mean, it might sit maybe 18 inches above that deck, give or take a few.
That might be all you need, you know, but if you're gonna put 100,000 and we can raise it up 2 feet and eliminate, 95% of the storms, it might be worth.
Well, my understanding is if you decide you want to raise it, that brings in a whole new exercise. And I guess I'm not quite ready to go down that road yet unless I have to. And you could talk about sea level rise the whole bit. I mean, it's a vulnerable building, there's no doubt about it. So I guess if your question is it worth spending $100,000 on a building that could be underwater? The answer is probably no.
I don't know if we have an alternative though, right? We
Yep.
don't have an alternative location, we don't have an alternative building, so.
Not in the short term. You might recall when I first got sworn in, I asked you if there was some office space available here in this building. And I think your answer was, yeah, maybe in the basement. So,
At least it's dry down there.
There used to
at
be,
least it's dry.
there used to be offices down there. Board of Health was down there, Conservation, there was a meeting area.
Well, if you have to run from the flood, so I think we may have to take you up on that one.
Back in the 80s, that's when it was still there. All the offices were in here. They didn't have the annex. All of the offices were in here. We made room.
Okay.
Chief, if this were to be approved, would you be replacing this, let's say we had a complete replacement, would that be on the same footprint? Or would it be larger?
Well, I mean, there's a little bit of room behind the building. If you wanted to expand the building a little bit where the butts leaches, you know, there's probably 12 to 15 feet there. If you wanted a bigger building, if you wanted to go to the ultimate building that's above any floodplain with maybe 2 stories, so you had multiple offices, I suppose you could do that. I mean, there is a little bit of square footage there, but not much.
Do you know the size of the building? It's not that big.
The guys from Richie's Insulation just measured it yesterday, but
20 by 12?
about the size of a garden shed, basically.
Well, I've been in there, it's not large, I mean, I tell you that, it's very small.
I mean, it works.
It works.
As long as it's dry and it's warm and it's sealed,
Yeah.
it'll suffice for a while. But again, I'm afraid that if we don't address this, then, you know, it's that old commercial, pay me now or pay me later.
Yeah. Okay, are there any questions on this item from the committee? Okay, well, we appreciate the presentation, but you have something more to talk about.
Yeah, we do. All right, so I think you know from the time I got sworn in here, I've been doing whatever I can to integrate the Marine Services Department into police, fire, EMS, and I've really enjoyed working with the guys who run those 2 departments. I think Westport should be very proud they have professionals of that level. So that kind of interaction leads to discussions like, what can we do together? What can we do? And what do you need that I need that we can combine together? Well, this vessel is exactly that. On my side of things, the Marine Services Department operates 6 vessels. We have 2 patrol vessels. One of them was built in 2019. That's the aluminum boat that was built out in Washington State. It's in very good condition. The other one is a privateer that was built, I want to say 1980. Clearly, it has run its course. We used it this summer, but we just kept it in the river up the East Branch. I wouldn't take it outside unless I absolutely had to. It does have a new outboard engine on it, but the hull itself and the vessel is in need of replacement. So if you accept that as true, and I do, and then the fire department says, look, we don't have any firefighting capability on the water in Westport. Why don't we put our heads together and see what we can do to solve both of our problems together? A little bit of interagency cooperation, I think, is important in this. It's a big number, obviously. But when you consider that vessel would service Dan Baldwin's needs and Bill Chase's needs, from the firefighting capability and the patrol rescue capability that we clearly have to replace, I think that number doesn't look nearly as daunting as it does on the screen right there. What surprised me, and it's been a bit of an education, I gotta say, I've spoken to 3 boat builders. One was Pacific Boats, the people who built our current patrol boat. Company called Safe Boats, they're also out in Washington State. And Marine Metal Tech, I think is the name. They built, by the way, this is Dartmouth's fireboat. This boat was $300,000 before COVID. It's now $600,000 for the exact same boat. You know, we have no control over those dynamics. And I won't sit here and say I can explain why it's that expensive, because I can't. But the fact of the matter is, if you need equipment of this caliber, that's what it costs. And so I think Chief Baldwin and I agreed that this is a vessel that could serve his needs and mine as well. Because if you just take it one at a time, if, say, Chief Baldwin decided he wanted to approach you for a fireboat on his own, well, that's the number that he's going to be looking at. If I am going to replace that privateer, it's probably going to be somewhere around $200,000, I'm guessing. So I would advise you to look at that number in that light, that this is an interagency proposition for you all. And let me give you a little bit of context about the river itself and why this vessel is important. First of all, let me say, what we have right now, as far as firefighting capabilities on the Westport River, for my department is zero. If Chief Baldwin called me today and said, I need a boat here, there, wherever, what can you provide? All I can do is stand there with a handheld fire extinguisher. We have nothing else. In this port of Westport, there are 1,400 boats. There are 3 major marinas, and to my best estimation, is about 20 miles of shoreline. And most of it is dotted with very nice homes. We have no protection for any of that right now. And I think whether it's this year or next year, I think this committee really needs to look at that lack of protection. Because, you know, when you look at it, the Harbor Masters Department, the Marine Services Department is essentially public safety. That's what we do. And I think that's why it's important for me to try to integrate my activities into police and fire as best we can. So this is a case where 2 of us, 3 of us could work together. You all know that we've had a lot of success working with the Westport Police Department and the Marine detail this summer. That, to me, was a terrific experience, a terrific exercise. And so we've got that that interagency cooperation that I think makes that $600,000 number not look so daunting. But it's a protection that the Port of Westport needs. It's a boat that my department needs, and I think I would just ask that you look at it from that lens.
Yeah, it's somewhat hard to imagine for me, I'm not a boater, but I don't recall a lot of instances of fire in Westport. I mean, I don't know what the frequency is, I don't know what it would be in Dartmouth, but is that only just one factor?
Well, Dick, I would say, look at what happened at Mattapoisett. It was 2 years ago, I believe, the Mattapoisett Boatyard fire. It was just a spark. It took the whole place down. And not just the boatyard itself, but surrounding homes and everything that was involved. You know, you can say, yeah, we haven't had a major fire here in X amount of years, sure, but it only takes one.
Yeah.
And the fact that we don't have any protection from an event like that, I think should give us all a little bit of pause.
Does Mattapoisett have firefighting boats?
You know, we've done a lot of work getting tied in with the Buzzards Bay Task Force. And Rick Smith has taken the point on all of that. He's met a lot of his cohorts up and down the South Coast. I can't tell you exactly what they have. I know this is what Dartmouth has, and I've spoken to Steve Bello over in Padenham about what he does and how he operates this boat. But I couldn't tell you exactly what Mattapoisett has. I know Marion has got all the bells and whistles, because money seems to be no object over there. Marion's patrol boat was $800,000. My budget is $280,000, my total budget. So it's a different world, I guess, as you go east. But to answer your question, Dick, I'm not exactly sure what type and design of fireboat Mattapoisett has.
Well, I was just looking for some context, and frequency of events, of course, would jump out at us. If we don't have the frequency of fire emanating from boats or from the facilities, I think there'd be some resistance on the part of the public to pay for it if they don't perceive a hazard. Now, maybe there is a lot of hazard that we're not aware of.
Well, I
don't know the
suspect,
boat, so I don't really know how to gauge.
I suspect the folks at Mattapoisett may see it a little bit different than we do right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
If I can add to that quickly. Somerset, Fall River, New Bedford, Bay Haven, Falmouth District 1, and majority of the coastal departments east of us have vessels similar to that. After the Mattapoisett fire, I got on the New Bedford Fire Patrol boat out of New Bedford Harbor, full speed, 5 East Ferry, got the trip boatyard as part of a drill in 45 minutes. Building from the ground in 45 minutes, it was on fire. In the last couple of years, we had a couple of boats catch on fire off the Drift Road in the 1400 block. As a result, most likely a fire fireworks overnight, smoldering, boat caught on fire, broke the lines, left it floating down the river. The only thing that Chris Lennon could do at the time was he went in a circle and created a wake to push the boat closer to the shore. We had a vessel in dry dock up against trips many years ago, catch fire over the winter. Albert, you may remember this one, we had a fire at the Trips Boatyard on the docks tip, sometime on the department, many years ago. I wanna say the female died, jumped in the water, fleeing the vessel. A lot of the boats that are tied up at trips seem to never leave the docks, they are houseboats. So in other words, people are living, cooking, smoking, whatever they're doing on those boats presents a hazard. In addition to firefighting, we're also gonna think about fuel spills, oil spills, especially from the larger commercial vessels that are in and out of Westport Harbor. My jet ski is not gonna tow the boom. We're very limited in what we can do to help the harbor master deploy those booms. I spoke earlier, we have the DEP spill trailer right here at Station 1, but it doesn't nobody any good if I can like park it in the boat ramp and can't deploy those booms. We've had some boom exercises with the DEP. With that current in Westport Harbor, it is very hard to deploy those booms up against that current. You need some strong vessels. So not only does he have a need to replace a patrol boat, I think, so we gotta look at, there's that point of it as well, but there are other, we're gonna reduce the environmental impact from spills in the river. I've been on the water for almost 30 years, and the boat traffic now is the greatest it's ever been. There's never been so much traffic on that river. So just like vehicles traveling up and down 88, you're increasing the vehicle crashes, you're increasing the risk of an event to occur on the river. Big concern with trips, it's very large, there's always a southwest wind. Any kind of firefighting operation land-based would be severely hampered just by the heat coming off of those buildings, the smoke, the toxins, same thing with the point. If we ever have a fire in the point, depending on the wind, in close proximity to those houses, we're gonna have to make a fire line, that's a loss, and this is where it's gonna be very challenging, is my point. Having that water-based firefighting vessel with an endless supply of water beneath the hull, which is where it would draw the water from most likely, would be extremely beneficial. Not only that, in addition to putting water in the fire, you can also be pumping water to our apparatus for any structure along the river. We have two homes on islands in the river that we can't get to with a fire truck. Right now, if we would have any issue, we would literally be running to the station, our stations, getting the portable pump that we used to pump out a basement, which does not supply the adequate gallons per minute to reduce the BTUs created by a fire. So we would essentially be putting a garden hose on Excel a couple of months ago. You need to have the capacity to put out fires. You do have two homes on the river. It's been a while since we've had any kind of brush fire on the islands. I think most of them, because they've been bought up over the years, but when I first got on, brush fires on the island from hunters was common. So the frequency is not there, and thankfully so. But I hate to do this, but the frequency of 10 people dying in an assisted living facility in Fall River wasn't there either. And look what happened following that fire. All of a sudden, they're infusing hundreds of thousands of dollars into the city of Fall River, and they're gonna hire, I don't wanna speak, but it's quite a few firefighters. I thought I heard 100, but it's quite a few firefighters that they're gonna be putting on the payroll as a result of what had never happened before. So I think what myself and the harbor master are trying to do is be proactive rather than reactive. And we hate to be coming to you next summer and saying, this happened, or this, the back eddy, which is probably a very big driving economic force in this town, burnt to the ground, and it's now closed for the summer. All that summer traffic that was coming in, and all that, those tax dollars that were coming in, that revenue that was generated, is now lost while he rebuilds, if he chooses to rebuild. Packchuck Inn, the oyster facility down in Point, another place that's drawn a lot of customers, I assume, is bringing revenue into the town. The one way in, one way out fire apparatus. So even though there's a lot of water there, everybody thinks the fire department can draw water from the ocean, from the river. It's not that simple. It doesn't work that way. You have to get close enough. There's a lot of factors that go into drafting and essentially vacuuming up water. You can only do it with a maximum of 33 feet of water suction. So you have to get close. There's elevation. There's different things to consider. even at trips, there's really only one place where we can put a piece of fire apparatus to draw water from the river. If the crane's there, we're not getting water out of the river. We're stuck. We're relying on tankers, or with a fireboat, there we go. So it's a big dollar amount, even when he told me, I was like, oof, it's a ton.
Yeah, it's,
You know, but it's something that might be necessary, and again, 50 years, he's trying to replace a boat that's 50 years old. So his department, you know, his predecessors have proven that they're able to, you know, provide an adequate return on investment. And if you were to take potentially, I don't want, 50 years, even 30, what is the overall cost each year, you know, when you break it down? Probably minimal, you know, in the long term, for what it actually does, which potentially saves lives.
I would echo Dan's comment, proactive versus reactive, I think is the key phrase in all this.
well, I don't think this would fail at town meeting, but I do think this conversation is useful for a couple of reasons. One is for us to really comprehend this and think about these things which we normally don't talk about. It's also important that the townspeople, particularly those who go to town meeting and vote on this, have this understanding, because it's an eye-opener. I haven't thought about the things that you're enumerating today, but they're very real. So, you know, I hope that all these items pass at town meeting. They all normally do, but I think this is one where people don't understand the issue, and particularly if they're not boat owners, might sort of discount it as being a real issue. When yet you look at all the parts, including houses on the shore that could be affected by it and burned, and the loss of life. I mean, this becomes, it's a little more, it's so scarier than you would first imagine.
Well, let me speak to the scary side of things there, Dick. Chief Baldwin called me one morning, he said, I gotta tell you about a little fire we had. It was at a dock down on Drift Road. It was a small boat, one of these electric-powered skiffs. They like to use lithium-ion batteries now. The advantage to lithium-ion is that you can discharge them to zero and you just keep recharging them back and forth again. Well, they have a real nasty habit of having something called thermal runaway, when they basically just ignite from within. You might have seen the story of that car-carrying ship that was bound from China to the U.S. with electric vehicles. One of them ignited, the whole ship basically burned and was scuttled in the end. So the technology of lithium-ion is everywhere. A lot of boats use it now. And it would just take one vessel equipped with that technology and having that thermal runaway happen to ignite the whole marina. So, I mean, technology is good, it's also risky. This is one of those instances where technology can be risky, especially from a firefighting point of view. And it also points out the cooperation that we've had between Chief Baldwin's department and myself and my staff. The things that they share with us has been eye-opening for us as well, from a firefighting point of view.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate these comments because they're helpful to us and the public.
Okay.
So I got one question. I don't necessarily need an answer now, but I guess my question would be, as far as priorities go, right, for firefighting, where does this fit in the overall firefighting plan? I mean, is it, you hate to put one above the other, but there's only so many dollars, right? So is the fire protection on a boat more critical than, say, the tanker truck that we need here in town, or the ambulance, or something? How do we balance it as a town as a whole, as opposed to looking department to department?
Well, it's a great question, Jim, and Chief Baldwin can answer that question better than I. My comment would be, this is a missing link in the chain. And the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If I could use that simple analogy, that's kind of where I see it, but I'm sure Dan's got,
I mean, a difficult question to answer. Right now, there's zero firefighting capability on the West Fork River. Zero. We are the only community that can't put out a fire on its waterways. We are the only community that doesn't actively participate until very recently on a limited scope as part of the Buzzards Bay Task Force. There's the regional group of vessels out of fire service, Coast Guard, EPO, Harbor Master's Office. Most of the time, Westport declines. Responses off of our own ocean, off of our coast, are handled by outside agencies. We don't have a boat either big enough or capable of handling some of the issues that happen out there, which could be a fire on a boat. I ended up telling me the other day on my boat, and a small cruise ship went by. Small cruise ship went by. So there's a risk out there off of our own waterways. We have a beautiful river that, bisects the town. Coastline, I think it's more like 30 miles of coastline when you include the ponds. We have no firefighting capability. We have homes with single laneways, hundreds of feet off of the roadway, very difficult to access, one way in, one way out, fire apparatus. I don't know where I prioritize it. The only thing I guess I would say is we have no firefighting capability on the Westport River. Kind of like saying, do you want a firefighter or a dispatcher? We need both. I need the dispatcher to take the call, this is the firefighter that I need to go to the fire. It'd be very hard. I understand what you guys are up against when it comes to dollars. When the Harbor Master and I spoke extensively about researching any kind of grant that we could possibly get. I know there's a waterways grant out there, whether or not a port like Westport, I don't know if it's geared towards a port like Westport or a cargo port, that handles a lot of much more larger traffic, I don't know. And we'll look to that to offset any costs. But this is this is not something that would be built overnight, but again, I can't guarantee you a grant either, so I understand you have to look at this as though it's gonna cost $600,000. But we have no firefighting. It's bothered me for years. And only recently did I come into the position where I'm solely responsible now for addressing it. And when we first started talking, it makes no sense for me to come to you and ask for the boat I asked for last year had nothing to do with firefighting. It was strictly a search and rescue boat, basically, mainly for the ponds. My concern is the ponds. We have excellent assets in the river for search and rescue. We would just be an additional asset. That was not going to address our firefighting needs. And frequency is minimal. Low risk, low frequency, high risk is exactly what it is.
And this would not be a vessel that's just going to sit there and wait for the first sign of smoke. This would be dual purpose.
Yeah.
We would exercise this vessel often.
Well, anyway, I seem to be doing all the talking here, so any questions or comments from the
I have a question. What is the delivery time on a boat like this, and does it fall in the category of, let's say, the fire truck where you lock in a price now and pay for it,
Well, Al,
pay for it later on,
this vessel right here, this is a year out.
a year? Okay.
The other outfit that I spoke to, Pacific Boats, said they could probably deliver something within 6 months.
All right, so it's not a fire truck situation like you're dealing with right now?
No, but you bring up a good point. And I don't know if this is possible for what he deals with. But there are lease options. You pay an interest rate, code knows better about that than I. But there are 3- and 5-year leases, at least for fire apparatus. 3-year lease, to my understanding, does not need to go to the Florida Town Meeting. A 5-year, from my understanding, would. A 3 can be voted on by the Board of Selectmen and approved, as far as I know. So if it was a matter of cost, you could spread out the cost with the understanding that you're gonna pay some sort of interest in it. You have to decide whether or not it was worth it. But if we were looking to spread out the cost, because just like I know the position he's in, to come in here and ask for something of that dollar amount, it's not an easy thing for us to do. But if that was an issue, that would be potentially something to also look at is a leasing option, lease to own. That's what we've done with our ambulances in the past. We're in that position now, we don't have to. We had an ambulance failure and we had to get one ahead of cycle. We didn't have enough money in the revolving, we had to do a lease. We're off that. I would prefer not to lease, because again, you're paying interest. But sometimes it's the only viable option if you want to spread out costs. But then you have to, obviously, you guys know you're committed over the next 3 years to finding the money.
Okay, great, thanks.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for enlightening us, really, you have today, and we'll give this significant consideration, believe me.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief and Bolton, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
You guys,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, that completes the agenda there, so there's the question of topics not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance. I don't think there are any for this meeting. Jim? I don't know of any. No? He's focusing on technology.
I'm sorry, yes.
I will assume that
They have none.
there are no topics. Yeah, if you listen to the recent discussion about firefighting on the water, plus the others from the chief, Chief Dunn, and the capital needs here are enormous, as we know, and it is a daunting process, but we realize this every year, and we just do the best we can, but it is, it's tough. There's tough calls on these things. And-
Jim, do you have any idea how many departments are making requests this year? Is it more than normal or about average?
I think we'll have about the same.
Okay.
It's tough to tell what the dollar amounts are. You can have one department,
Yeah,
a big dollar amount, and, 6 makes small, so.
yeah.
Yeah, and we haven't heard from the school department yet. They're still working on it.
School department, we're actually meeting at 5:30, or 6:30, excuse me, for this one, to go over our requests. I will say that we've got several different needs, but we've managed to kind of look for some alternative funding beyond just CIPC. One request that I imagine will be on the approved list that gets presented is the school's request is just, I think it's like $100,000 for the playground, where most of that is getting covered by either the community or CPC or the same outfit that did the annex playground last year. So that's one example. Then we also have some requests that I think we can roll into requests with the school building committee for some funds that still exist in that account. So we're going back and forth on a few things, but like I said, we're meeting tonight and plan
Okay.
to pass those on right after, so.
Do we have a range of monies that we can work with?
Just curious of myself.
I learned my lesson last year when I spoke up and said we had a certain amount of money and we didn't have quite that amount. We should
Yeah,
know- we should know.
but now you're not on the hot seat. I mean, so you're,
Gonna follow me out the door. I think we're gonna have a fairly decent amount.
Okay.
Hopefully something similar to last year.
Okay.
We should know within the next
Couple weeks.
couple of weeks.
all right, fine.
Yeah.
So by the next meeting or the meeting after the
Yep.
latest,
Yep.
we'll know.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I do want to talk about the next meeting date. I might have a problem with that, but before we do that, we need to approve the minutes of January 21st, 25. And I think they were submitted to us, if I recall. Or is this something we have to review?
These you reviewed, these you did, I did review them last year. I'm okay approving them if there's enough. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second,
Did we get those in the mail?
They weren't, I didn't post them on a thing, but I do remember reviewing them last year. You did them.
You sent them to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, you
Okay.
sent them last
I
year.
think you sent them at the end, after the last meeting.
If you want to review them in more detail, we
Well,
can put it off the next meeting.
Yeah, well, I would just say, what is the pleasure of the committee? If you feel comfortable, these things are fairly routine. What's there is what took place, and that's over and done with, so we, sort of like a record-keeping issue. I
I'm
don't,
okay with my motion.
I'll second
and
it.
I heard it, I think I
I'll
heard it.
second it.
I second it.
There was a second, okay. Now, discussion, any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And I'll especially abstain.
Abstain, yes, okay. Thank you. Okay, I said earlier, we generally meet every
Other ones.
couple of weeks. Now, this is, I think it's October the 1st, so the 14th or the
14th,
15th.
we won't be able to meet in here, right? You guys are
Oh, yes,
interviewing in here.
there's another meeting,
On the 15th?
14th, 15th, yes.
Oh, well, the 14th is
What's the Wednesday? Is it the 14th?
15th.
15.
15th.
14th is FinCom, but that's virtual.
14th and 15th, they'll be meeting, and this room will be occupied, and I know you'll be.
Yes, I'll be here.
I have a conflict on the 15th as well, if possible to
Well, my own conflict is not until the following week, so I'm available on the 15th. And if, as long as we have a quorum, we would prefer to proceed.
I'm not available on the 15th
Okay.
or the 22nd, for that matter.
Yeah, well, the 22nd, I'll be out of town myself. So that would be like, if we met after
On the 29th?
the 29th, that's almost a month. I mean, we could, it's early in the game.
We're a little earlier this year than we were last year.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how many more departments do you expect to have requests in?
So we'll have the school, and then we have smaller ones. We'll have town hall, selectman's office. We'll have small cemetery request.
Any highway?
VOA,
Highway,
Highway.
that's right.
COA?
And COA, I haven't heard yet, but they always have a couple of requests. But those are relatively
library,
small.
Mm,
Yeah, again,
Maybe.
most of those we can move through pretty quick.
Yeah.
These were the big ones,
Yeah.
police,
yeah, these
fire.
are the
Yeah.
tough ones, police,
Yeah,
fire,
So
school.
we might be able to get through most, if not all, at one meeting.
Yeah, we don't need a lot of meetings, Chris, in answer to your question. We usually can do all of this in a few meetings, or certainly 4 or 5 meetings is ample. So it's not fatal if we can't meet again until October the 29th, what did you say? Is that the date?
yeah.
It's really up to the committee. How do you feel about that? Does that meet everybody's
Feel good.
schedule? Yeah, well, we can have our meeting, most will be here, and,
Yeah.
you know, we'll be in good shape still. Like you say, we're starting early, so this year, and it does move along. We kind of, most of the people on this committee have been here a few rounds and know the drill, so it moves along. All right, so it seems like a long time away, but we know time flies when you're having fun. So the next meeting will be Wednesday, October the 29th. That's September up there, so I can't see that, but anyway, I'll take your word on it.
Yeah, it's the
Those who have,
29th.
those who are iPhone literate more
Yeah.
so than I am. At 3 PM right here, and we look forward to it. So with that,
Motion to adjourn? What about?
I hear a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
You need a copy?
This is not an item that we do for discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thank you. What time's the game?